New garden strategy. Do you want a blue ribbon or do you want to eat? Now don't get me wrong, winning a blue ribbon at the fair, that's wonderful. But so is coming out in your garden and being able to pick every day and eating all summer long. So what's your strategy and what's your goal? Are you after the blue ribbon or are you after a bunch of nutritious food you can feed your family all summer long? Well into the winter if you do it right. After all this rain, the sun comes out a little bit and everything starts to grow. Even after doing it as long as I've been doing it, I'm always amazed when things start growing. But that's why we succession plant, so we always have something coming on. And say if I was going for the biggest cabbage, I'd have to be out here putting some fertilizer on this. By using the deep mulch and not worrying about it and wanting to be able to harvest this cabbage, then that cabbage, over a period of a couple weeks, I make more food than if I had one giant cabbage that I have to do something with tonight. Look at that. Get a little sun, seeds start coming up. We just looked at some corn over there. Here's another batch of corn that went in a couple weeks later. So we'll be harvesting that corn while this corn is making. Then we'll be able to have corn all summer long. And by then, these beets and these carrots, they ought to be coming along well. By the time that batch of carrots is done, these seeds will be harvested. And then these carrots, which we planted this winter, they're going to be ready to come up here pretty quick. And about that time, these beans will be making real well. They're starting to trellis nicely. With this new strategy, you really can feed yourself and your family all summer long. You can stretch that on into the winter pretty easily if you have a few things already pre-planned. You're going to want to be able to freeze some. It's a good idea to start learning about fermenting and pickling and pressure canning if you have the ability. If you've been with me when we dug sweet potatoes or harvested watermelons, you saw some pretty big examples. Oh my goodness. Let's go ahead and cut it the short way. See what we got. You gotta be kidding me. You also saw some really nice big squash, and 10 to 20 inches. And we got 25 inches on that one. And then 10 inches around is what it's saying. And that looks like 30 inches around. But that was winter squash, and those hold over really, really well. We did wind up cutting and cooking the one and then freezing it, but that works out really nice when you're cooking. The corn, for example, you're gonna get just a certain number of ears off of each plant. Then you're done. Then you can either freeze it, you can blanch it. There's several things you can do with it. Of course, you're gonna enjoy some of it. But with your peppers and your tomatoes, once they get a little size to them and they start making, they're gonna make all the way up to frost. So you really wanna have a plan so you can preserve that over the winter. With the peppers, we like to blister it and then freeze it in measured amounts. And that way when we go to cook, we just drop that in there. Same thing with the tomatoes, although we do freeze tomatoes whole. And then you have your root crops that preserve really well. The nice thing about sweet potatoes is once we dig these in the fall, they're gonna cure, then we're gonna keep them in a cool, dark place, and we'll eat on them all winter long. So your strategy, you got beets that you're gonna pick every day, carrots you're gonna pick every day, your sweet potatoes come in a huge harvest, your peppers and your tomatoes, you're gonna harvest the rest of the summer. Your corn is a one-time deal. That's why we plant several different sessions. And of course your cucumbers, we plan to make some pickles, but we also plan to eat a bunch of these fresh all summer long. Now this tomato in the bale's getting big enough, I am gonna have to come out here and put a real trellis on it. We'll do that tomorrow, and I hope you join me for that. But as we move through summer into fall, you got a treat coming. You got last of the garden or green tomato chow chow, and we make that every year. That's everything left that hasn't been harvested. So whether you're going for a ribbon at the fair or you want to feed your family all year long, you can do this too. And unless you plant way too much, the nice thing about this is you're not going to get bored eating the same thing over and over again. I think we got purple coleslaw, peas and potatoes on the menu for tonight. And if you want to see how we extend our harvest, check out that link right there and I'll meet you in the kitchen. And if you want to learn more about the deep mulch, check out that link right there and I'll meet you right back here in the garden. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.